Okay, we are going to get started. Hi, everybody. I am just going to pull up our, sorry about that. I'm going to pull up right now our deck, and I think you can see it now. Okay, so we're going to get started. Welcome to Ditch the Diet, Do This Instead. And before we get started, I just want to thank you for being here today. There are a lot of places and things you could be doing and people you're seeing, and you're taking some time out of your day to just take a pause and do something for yourself, take in this information. So I want to thank you for creating that space for yourself and letting me be a part of it for you. And just to give a little bit of an introduction on who I am, hi, I am Brigitte Ayoub. I'm a certified holistic health coach, and I have a food psychology and behavior expertise. I have a master's in adult learning and training, and I help women to heal their relationship to food, their bodies, and empower them to move through all of life's transitions, whether that's pregnancy, postpartum, caregiving, grief, etc., because life and shit happens. And just a little bit of a personal experience in, my own struggle. I struggled with food and my weight for 2 decades. I tried every diet out there, every avenue. I was that very go-getter girl, straight A student athlete. I was very involved in my youth group. Growing up, I graduated, college with a secure job, got the master's degree, married my best friend who's in that, beach picture right here with me. But I still felt very disconnected and frustrated. I was that type A girl, checking off the boxes, but just didn't feel that I could really, quote unquote, figure this part out, which was anything and everything related to food and my body. Yet I still had a passion for wellness. Okay. So does this sound familiar to you? You're hardworking and you're high achieving. You're very ambitious. Sometimes you might consider yourself to have those perfectionist tendencies. Okay. You're sick and tired of dieting because no one actually wants to diet and obsess over food, right? You're overwhelmed by that constant change of opinions when it comes to what we should be eating, what we shouldn't be eating, and you're just sick of the feeling those constant experiences of guilt, shame, resentment over your food. And oftentimes I hear women, and I used to say this too, is, am I a failure? And the truth is you're not a failure. The systems fail us. So it kind of comes full circle, because when you look at every area of your life, you're like, well, I'm succeeding in my career. I'm happily married, or there's certain things about my, life that I really like. And I feel like I'm really succeeding in that specific arena. But with food and my body and health and weight, that's just really something I struggle with. So my commitment to you today is that you can get off the hamster wheel. You can feel good in your body. And you can eat all kinds of foods, and you're going to learn 4 steps to help you move from the diet ship to peace on plate island. And that is what I call it. Okay, so before we even get to, the 4 steps, I want to just go over a little bit about the diet industry, diet mentality, and diet culture. So diet culture is the root of a poor relationship with food in our body. It has these belief systems and judgments attached to health and wellness. And the media favors a thin ideal of muscular men and skinny girls, right? There's constantly this quest for thinness, and it comes in the form of quote unquote tools, which you might have done yourself. And I've done everything in the book, right? Like as a professional dieter. So these macros, points, containers, calorie counting, cleanses, detoxes, 30-day fitness challenges that just seem to be everywhere. Okay. So it's an inner dialogue. It's saying, I can't eat blank for breakfast. It's not a healthy choice. Added sugars aren't good for you, so I don't eat them ever. Wine is my guilty cheat twice a week. Cheat, that word, cheat. It drives me bonkers when I hear people say it. I only eat carbs on days I'm going for a run. Okay. It's after 7 p.m. I can't eat anything. I don't eat fries. They have too much fat. I earn my cheat meals, again, cheat, by working out really hard the morning of. So this is diet culture. This is diet mentality. And it's just a constant loop in our heads if we let it be. Okay. So speaking of a loop, you've got your vicious cycle where there's a desire to diet, which then causes the restriction. And then we're overcome with a food craving because #life, right? You want to be out and you're trying to live life. And you decide to break the diet, you overeat, you feel the guilt, the shame, which then can cause more of the overeating. And sometimes that actually is emotional eating. It's not all the time. So then you're like, okay, I'm just going to restrict again. And I'm going to repeat that until like this whole cycle keeps going until you decide to start the next wellness lifestyle change. And I put that in quotes is because a lot of times we think we're doing some kind of wellness initiative for ourselves when again, it's just a different form of the diet mentality, just morphing in a different way. So there are 3 kinds of dieters, 3 kinds of people. You've got the chronic dieters or perpetually dieting. I called myself a professional dieter, but I was in that bucket. You've got the aftermath dieters, and then you have the normal eaters who achieve that food freedom and peace on plate that we all desire and want. Okay, so you decided to jump off the diet ship. Congrats. Now what? Okay, so you landed in the water, as I like to call the diet aftermath. And all of a sudden, you're just overcome from this moment of freedom to, oh crap, I'm treading water. I'm overwhelmed with all this chaos. I don't know what to do. I don't feel good in my body. And this happens because we relied and trusted on systems and people in labs and, people that are trying to take this, meal plan or something, a mass-produced plan. And then we forget to tap into our own inner wisdom and go, okay, what do I need for myself? And I don't know what to do. So you see an island, and I know that girl is like really creepy looking, but you see this island and you want to get to that island because nobody wants to be treading water, almost drowning. And this island is called the Peace on Plate Island. But you need a life jacket, okay? And your life jacket and your support comes in various forms. And today I'm going to be your life jacket. Okay. So life on the island, what is that like? Life on the island is like going to a restaurant and choosing a meal you want, not saying, I think I need to eat this because this is healthy for me. It's eating pancakes for breakfast with the kids. And yes, I've made that whole thing of pancakes for my husband and I on National Pancake Day. It's moving your body in a way that you enjoy that isn't torturous. So it's not about just doing the boot camp because it tortures them, this crazy amount of calories, or doing spin class 5 times a week, or whatever the case is. It's about actually moving your body in a way that's sustainable and you actually enjoy and it gives you joy. It's craving vegetables as well as pizza and French fries. It's feeling more present when you eat. And you're not labeled by a diet. It's not like, oh, what diet are you on? Because right now, that's hot topic. We're in this culture that it's almost considered, it's considered normal to be dieting. So without further ado, I want to walk you guys through the 4 steps to help you move from the diet ship to the island life. And we're going to go into more details. I just wanted to summarize them here so you know what's on the horizon. And step 1 is peace on plate. And we're going to go through everything that entails. And then we're going to move into step 2, which is befriending your body. Step 3 is realign your thoughts and beliefs. And step 4 is be attentional with your ecosystem. Okay. So step 1, peace on your plate. Peace on your plate looks like foods that feel good. And this isn't just about eating whatever you want. And I think sometimes this is a hard transition for people when they're moving from constantly feeling they're in this like diet aftermath, and then they hear something called intuitive eating, and then they feel like they're going from one end of the spectrum to the other. And that is, we don't want you to be on either end of the spectrum. We want you to be swinging right in the middle. So it's actually eating foods that make you feel good while also eating foods that you want to enjoy. It's important to note that our primary and priority when it comes to food is fuel. And secondary to that is pleasure, but fuel is always number 1. And if we're not eating for sustainability and we're eating to cope for feelings, or we're numbing, then we're not obviously doing what's best for our bodies and serving us. Peace on plate is, when we're using words like shouldn't, can't, wouldn't, couldn't, we don't use those words because those are laced with judgment. I shouldn't be eating this. I can't go to the party without eating 5 cupcakes. If you say those things, that's a self-fulfilling prophecy, and you're going to then do it. Okay. So, it's something that it doesn't, it's not going to change overnight. It's not like, when I talk to my clients about this, it's not like stop saying shouldn't, but it's easy for us to get into this kind of habit of just saying these words that are not serving us, because our words come from our beliefs and our thoughts. And that's where we try to change those, so finding food neutrality, that next point, no good and bad food, same idea. Food is molecules. Okay, food is neutral. There is nothing that food has except us humans put the emotion in the food. Sure, there are some foods that are more optimal and nutrient dense for you, but at the end of the day, food is food. And then piece on plate, I have to eat this, to I choose to eat this because I love how it makes me feel. Okay, moving on. So if you're thinking, I don't know what to do, or making food choices makes me anxious. Been there, I totally get it. The questions I'd ask you is, do you trust yourself? And what do you really need? Like, what do you really need? So do you trust yourself? And you might say, I don't know if I trust myself. Well, if you're saying you don't know if you trust yourself, no judgment, then you probably don't trust yourself, but that's also because you've been relying on those systems all these years. So that's the first point. And then what do you really need? When it comes down to it, what really is the challenge? What really is going on? Deeper beyond the food, getting to the root. The proof is in the pudding. So this is one of my former clients, and she says, what makes working with Bree so great is that she's very easy to talk to, is completely understanding and non-judgmental whatsoever, and truly has a gift for connecting with people. I felt completely comfortable sharing my eating habits, even if it included fast food at times and personal issues that tied in my health journey. I'm really happy that I chose to work with Bree, and I highly recommend her for anyone ready to make a lifestyle change. Okay, so moving on to step 2, befriending your body. So you may be thinking, hating my body motivates me to try harder, which is self-sabotage. I know everyone says that it's not about the weight loss, but it is. I'm uncomfortable with my body, so I need to lose weight first, then I can befriend my body, which is actually reverse thinking and diet mentality. And every time that you've done that, it's reverted you back here. Because the truth is, weight loss and weight gain are symptoms of something else. So we can't rely on just saying, I need to lose weight. We need to be relying on, okay, I'm telling myself I want to lose weight, but really what is going on? Why do I feel that I need to lose weight? Have I gained weight? Is there something else that's going on? And what's going on? And how do I shift that? And then if the body isn't going to lose weight, naturally it will. We have a resting state when it comes to that. The emotion precedes the action. And what that means as it comes to relating to your body is we have to feel something before the action. And oftentimes we want the instant gratification. We want to be able to, we want to be able to see the result and then go, oh, now I can work on the mindset, when actually we need to work on the mindset and the emotions and the thoughts, feelings, patterns, habits before the action is going to occur. And I make a point here that accepting your body doesn't mean that you no longer care about your well-being. It's quite the opposite. It means you're surrendering to abundant opportunities to take care of your body. Okay, and what happens once you do, and I have another lovely client, it's Brigitte's wickedly intuitive style that would make the most impact on your life. Her knowledge of food and how to reformat your relationship with it is brilliant. Make no mistake, if you choose to work with her, and you should, you'll be reformatting your life. Thank you, Brigitte, for how you serve others. And the truth is how we do one thing is how we do everything, and it relates to our food story. And as Neil says in this testimonial, is what you're not realizing is when you change your relationship to food in your body, you're actually changing your relationship in all of the other areas. But we're going to get into that. Okay. So step 3 is realign your thoughts and beliefs. And your mindset encompasses a thought, feeling, pattern, behavior, and then the action and the result. So what we do is when we address these thoughts and feelings, we create space to release that guilt and shame around food that we're always feeling. We become aware of our choices and how they impact us. We make a choice based on how it'll make us feel. We let go of any of that residual emotion from our environment growing up that stayed with us. That's a huge one. And we stop taking the all or nothing approach, which is another huge one, because a lot of times in that dieting world, in the professional dieting world, in the aftermath, we take that, I'm only going to do this and I'm going to do this well. And we think we're being intentional and we think that we're doing the right thing by saying that, but life has gray moments. Life is gray. It's not black and white. So that's why that mentality does not make sense. In addition to that, there's no more victim mentality approach. No more, why can't I do this? Why can't I figure this out? Poor me. It's more of an empowerment movement. And we go from a scarce mindset to a growth mindset, looking at how can this serve me? What can I learn from this? So some questions to reflect on. How is your mindset? Do you come from a space of lack or a space of growth around your body and food? Do you take a curious approach or do you take a more victim approach on your circumstances? Because what starts to happen when you're on the same page with your body, food starts to feel easy and freeing. You might be saying this or thinking, this sounds too good to be true. And another client says, as somebody who's dealt with eating disorders for the better part of my life and a coach myself, I've been exposed to hundreds of coaches in the industry. Bree gets it. She's not going only to teach you how to act differently, but she's going to teach you how to think in a way that serves your ultimate goal, to love and trust yourself. I couldn't recommend her enough. You think you're getting support around emotional eating, but surprise, her work transcends the kitchen and you're going to up level in all areas of your life. Thanks, Tori. So again, it's not just how it impacts food, body, it's how it impacts your life. And then, we're moving into step 4, which is be intentional with your ecosystem. So you've heard some of the client testimonials. I bring them in because it ties all together. They talk about how it impacts the rest of your life. Well, this is your life, right? So this is your ecosystem. So when you think of biology class back in high school, it's this abundant, growing ecosystem, and you're in the middle of that. And this example that I have up here, this is my example that I use that's very simple and to the point, but you can add so much more to this. I just, for time's sake and simplicity's sake, this is just what I'm using. So you're in the middle and you've got your mental, your physical, your spiritual, your emotional, your career / fulfillment, whatever that means to you, and your relationships. And the relationships are broken down into your own relationship and then your relationship with others. And the point is that we undergo transformation in all of those areas. And again, I mentioned this earlier, the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. So for somebody who has spent their life controlling their food, well, where did that first originate from? Was that something that you grew up in an environment like that? Are you taking that on in your food? And then how is that impacting your relationships? How is that stopping you from getting the promotion because you're too controlling, right? So we are able to pull back those layers on every single area of your life. Okay, so the ecosystem in action. The work of Brigitte's program is unique and one of a kind. The shifts I have made took me off the hamster wheel. I can't believe it. It has allowed me to feel empowered and abundant. I use the phrase happy mind, happy heart because that's truly what I feel from our experiences together. The added benefits I didn't expect. Our work together impacted every area of my life, specifically around my business. Kathleen's a business owner. Choosing to prioritize my challenges around food and my body has also opened me up to reframing the way I see my relationships, my social circle, and emotional well-being too. So again, here's the ecosystem in action. So imagine how much time and energy you've spent worrying about food and body. And this is your little ecosystem, all the cute little succulent plants. And you ask yourself, how is this impacting every other area of my life? The big point that I want to drive home is you don't need to do this alone. As a human species, we are tribal. We thrive in a social circle. And that is just how we've come along all these thousands of years. We are tribal people. Sometimes, a lot of the times, when it comes to our health, especially for these ambitious women or, very successful perfectionist people pleasers, we tend to think that we have to do this all on our own. We have to be Miss Independent, Mr. Independent, whatever the case is. And we fall on those beliefs, which don't serve us. So this is a structure that I use to support my clients. And it literally looks like a house with a foundation, a roof, and the pillars. And I just want to quickly go over what that entails if you ever wanted that support. This is the support I give. So we start with our foundation, which is our willingness, our awareness, and our empowered action. And that's something that when we decide to work together, you need to have this. This is something that if you have the willingness to be open to something different and get out of your comfort zone, then you're golden. And that drives the awareness. And then the empowered action, that's just laying that foundation nice and, thick and wide and strong for the pillars. And then we move into the first pillar, which is the bio-individual blueprint. And this is where we are, looking at the physical component, looking at your well-being, and then seeing, where those tweaks are that we need to start changing, because our physical being really helps us receive clarity. It lifts the mental fog and helps us move forward in all the other areas. And then we're moving into pillar 2, which is evaluating your ecosystem. So when we look at the rest of your ecosystem, like I mentioned a couple slides ago, when you're looking at the mental, the emotional, the spiritual, the career fulfillment and relationships, how does your bio-individual blueprint impact the rest of the ecosystem? And that third pillar is self-trust and mindset. And I just want to point out that it's not like we bucket and go, okay, pillar, pillar, pillar. It's all happening simultaneously together. It's just easier to convey to you how this works. But self-trust and mindset is something that we are peppering through all of our work together, but it deserves its own pillar. And fulfillment for future you. So when you look at where you are now and where you want to be in 12 months or 6 months, whatever the case is, what does that look like for you? The whole point is that we're learning and growing together. So at some point you feel the ability to go, I've made X amount of progress. I have shifted so many beliefs around myself. I no longer feel this way, as you saw some of those testimonials. And always we have the roof of a house, and this is surrounding compassion and curiosity. And I always tell my clients that there's no such thing as, we always have this fear of failure. There's always this thing that people tell me is I'm afraid to fail. And the word fail really is just feedback, right? And the reason why I'm bringing this up when it comes to compassion and curiosity is if we have compassion for ourselves, then we don't look at failure as a quote unquote bad thing. It's inevitable, and we need to want to move forward and fall and fail. And curiosity, I always say to clients, it's when something is happening, take the approach of, I'm just going to experiment and I'm going to see how this goes. I'm going to stay open. Because the truth is if you stay open to everything and anything, then you're not going to be disappointed, because you're experiencing every facet that is ultimately guiding you to where you need to be, even if in that moment you're not sure. Okay, I think we're about to finish. So, all right, we are about to wrap this up. So let's connect. If this information resonated with you, which I really hope it did, and it's something that at this point, I'm ready, you want to move forward, I'd love to just connect with you and schedule a free discovery breakthrough call. You can email me at Bri, B-R-I, as you can see here, at briayoub.com. And I'll get back to you within a 24-hour period. And I'd love to just explore with you what is holding you back from having that peace on plate mentality. If you are currently on the diet ship, if you are currently treading water, let's get you that rescue boat. Let's get you that life jacket and get you out of that space, because my friends, I am here to tell you that you can have it all, and it starts with your well-being. I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you so much. And I really hope that you have a great rest of your day. Thanks.